welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Hillary Mulick, a wedding photographer based in North Carolina, and on today's YouTube video, I'm going to be talking about my main camera body, the Nikon Z62, and what this video is going to be about is just my review on this. I've had this camera for about a year now, and just talking about why I decided to switch from my DSLR to a mirrorless camera. So honestly, my main reason for switching to this camera is a year and a half ago, I had my DSLR, my Nikon D810 for about 4 or 5 years and been shooting full-time weddings on that and portrait sessions for the entirety of that time. So it was just getting really old and I knew I was gonna have to replace my camera body at some point. I'd had a lot of friends that had switched to the mirrorless camera and really loved it. It had a lot of great pros to it. So I decided to try it out. And so now a year and a half later, I wanted to share my favorite things about this camera, the Nikon Z62. So my main reason why I went with this, the 2 versus the 1 version, is that the Nikon Z62 comes with 2 memory card slots, and being a wedding photographer, I am really adamant that my main camera body shoots on 2 memory cards at once so that I always have a backup version of my photos so that I don't lose any of my client photos. So that is something that I really like about this camera. Another thing that I really love about shooting mirrorless is when I would shoot on my DSLR, I would constantly, anytime I switched to a new lighting situation, I'd have to take a few test shots, switch my settings around, take a few more test shots before I was ready to go in that new location. Well, with the mirrorless camera and the live view mode, I'm able to change my settings live and see how they adjust on the screen. So unlike a DSLR, which has a mirror in the camera, the mirrorless camera, you are always looking at a digital screen. So whether you're looking through the viewfinder or on the LED screen in the back, it's going to be a digital picture. You're not looking into a mirror as you are with a DSLR camera. So because you're looking at a digital picture all the time, you're able to change your settings, so change your ISO, your aperture, your shutter speed, and you can see those changes happening on the DSLR, on the LED screen in the back, happening in real time. So for example, if I wanted to lower my aperture, I'd be able to do that without taking a test picture and lower my aperture and then be able to see on the LED screen in the back the depth of field changing as I lower my aperture. So that is something that has really saved time, especially being a wedding photographer, is being able to utilize that feature a lot and not having to spend as much time taking test shots and testing my light throughout the day. The next thing that I really love about my mirrorless is that, number one, I can use all of my original lenses on this camera. I got an adapter on here, the Nikon FTZ adapter, so that I can use the F mount, because this camera I believe uses a Z mount, and my lenses that went on my DSLR camera use a different kind of mount, the F mount. So I can put an adapter on here and be able to use all of my lenses that I've been using for years. Another thing I really like about this camera is it's super lightweight. Now when I get at my DSLR camera, even though I thought it was light compared to past models that I've had, this is so much lighter and it really saves my wrist when I am photographing throughout the day, especially long wedding days. Another thing that I really like about this mirrorless camera is the touch screen in the back. So I'm able to put on the live view and touch to do focus. I can touch to change my settings if I want to. And I just really love how quick I'm able to do things on the camera because there's a touch screen in the back. Now, the very last thing that I love about this mirrorless camera is it has a pivoting, see if you can see this, the LED screen in the back pivots, which is amazing. I've been able to utilize this a ton being a wedding photographer. So for example, when I'm shooting flatlays on the ground and shooting ring pictures, I can put my camera on the ground, pretend this is the ground, and I can flip my LED screen up and be able to see what I'm photographing rather than having to get super low to like put my eye in the viewfinder. I can just put my camera low and still see what my camera is seeing by switching the LED screen up like this. On the same token, if I am shooting a tablescape for the reception and I want to do an aerial view of the tablescape, I can put my camera like this where the lens is facing down and then be able to tilt my LED screen this way so that I can see what I'm photographing and be able to line it up. It's really been able to help save time in post when I'm editing as well, because I'm not having to straighten as many things because I'm like blindly shooting like this or low like this, just trying to get a good shot. And then later in post, I have to go and straighten everything because I was shooting at weird angles. So I absolutely love this pivoting LED screen so that it just saves me so that I'm not shooting as much on the wedding day and I'm able to shoot more quality images rather than having to cull through a ton of photos after the event. And that was it. Those were all of the main things that I love about my mirrorless camera and why I would 100% recommend anyone who has a DSLR currently to switch to a mirrorless camera. It's been really great. Granted, there was about a month to a month and a half learning curve, just learning how a mirrorless camera works and just the benefits of it, and learning how to shoot in live mode, which I shoot in 100% live mode now, whereas before I was shooting with my eye through the viewfinder the whole time. So it's been really great. And if you have any other questions about mirrorless cameras or about this specific camera, the Nikon Z62, feel free to leave comments down in the section below, and I will see you again next week for another YouTube video. Bye.